The thoughts, views, opinions, and advice expressed by the host of How to Be Human are for entertainment purposes only. Under no circumstances should the script or improvisations you hear, read, or understand be considered professional advice. If you have a grievance or emergency, you should seek professional assistance, be it medical, psychological, financial, or any other category you may need. The team at How to Be Human does not encourage you to try this at home. God bless and enjoy the show. Hi, everybody. Welcome to How to Be Human, the video that hopefully helps. I'm your host, Alexander. I'll be talking the whole time. If you don't want to stick around for the whole video, here's basically what you need to know. Every category that we dive into, all human beings, and I do mean all human beings deal with throughout the duration of their lives. Now, there's 11 categories or responsibilities, depending on the way you want to think about it. So buckle up. We got a lot to talk about. Depending on where you are in life, you can choose to either just hear me out, and if you want to apply anything that you like, you can do it later, or you can choose to grow now. Growing is going to require three things, though: your time, energy, and your attention. So be warned, it ain't for free. Yeah, that's the intro. Doing okay so far. All right, here we go. Category 1, biological responsibilities. Basically, you're somebody's son, daughter, mother, father, brother, sister, cousin, whatever, it's a fact. I didn't check, but I know it's a fact because bloodlines are a thing. And if those people matter to you at all in your life, you may feel like you have some biological responsibilities. Or if you don't care, you may choose to not honor those biological responsibilities. There's pros and cons to both, of course. But, think about it. It's your life, so it's up to you, ultimately. Me, personally, I care very much about my family and my family name. It comes with a lot, but it's worth it. And look, if you weren't brought up in a traditional family setting, maybe you're an orphan or something different, you should know that people can be angels or devils. There's a range when it comes to people. So no matter what you're going through or what you went through, just know that family can be a positive word or a negative word, but it's up to you. The point is that some human beings feel a genuine duty and a real responsibility when it comes to their family and their last name, and some human beings don't. I'd say stay aware of this responsibility, though, because things change all the time. Like, you never know when it comes with other people. So, all right. Moving on. Category number 2, physical responsibilities. In a sentence, strong body, strong mind. Exercise any way you can. Even stretching and walking does wonders. Why help death? Why help death? I'd rather help life. That's just me, though. Next, category 3, psychological responsibilities. Now, we've all heard about mental health, and yes, absolutely get checked out if something's going on. But if you can help it, don't allow, and I mean allow, don't allow depression or anxiety or whatever else the power of becoming your boogeyman. Don't let it stop you from living. I think you'd be surprised how better you'd feel mentally if you had proper rest, proper food, and proper coping mechanisms to deal with your trauma that you can use in your daily life before you run to products. Going back to the exercise point, a strong body adds to a strong mind. It helps. And another quick point. I've heard humans say before that you're supposed to be happy every day. Like, that's the goal. Like, you're just supposed to wake up happy and that's just supposed to ride with you all day. It's a bit unrealistic. I understand what people are saying. I just don't think it's a fully mature thought. You're a human being. You're not supposed to be happy every day. You're not a dog. Happiness is an emotion, which means it comes and it goes, which makes it very valuable when you have it, right? And then when you don't, you miss it. I honestly think we're supposed to be capable of finding happiness every day, even in the smallest ways, whether that's with gratitude or personal action. The truth is you're supposed to be faithful every day, faithful to yourself in the highest regard, faithful to your morals, your principles, and your expectations, so you don't compromise your standards for anybody, faithful to those who have been loyal to you and kept your best interests at heart. They deserve you. And in my opinion, faithful to God, but we'll talk about that later. Okay, let's keep it pushing. Category number 4, input-output responsibilities. What you feed your senses matters. What you see, what you listen to, what you touch, what you taste and smell. All play a part in how human beings interpret life as it goes on. We've all heard the nature versus nurture argument. I say it's both and a bit more. So we'll talk about that a little later. Next, category 5, social responsibilities. One of my favorites. This is all about community, quality community, not necessarily the quantity of community. I have learned it's better to have no company than the wrong company. Take it from me or don't. That's just what I got to say about it. Good luck. Category 6, artistic responsibilities. Yes, you have them. Hobbies, creativity. This is how you stand out to yourself, if that makes sense. Like you're different from other people because you have this under your tool belt. Activities like gardening, reading, training, whatever, public speaking. And let me say this, vices don't count. You can't smoke weed all day and call yourself creative just because you think of stuff. Trust me, I've tried. And to be honest, if you don't have something real to show at the end of the day, then you ain't really doing much. So find a healthy interest and stick to it. Okay, cool. On to the next one. Category 7, professional responsibilities. Okay. Okay. Now, human beings have worked long days since the dawn of time, so don't be ashamed of putting in the work. I'm with you, for real. For this category, you need to understand that there are different levels of employment, though. And I'm going to break this down as simply as I can. Some of us clock in, clock out. Simple. Some of us have responsibilities outside of usual work hours. Cool. And some of us run the whole thing. That's right. But hear this quote. Heavy is the head that chose to wear the crown. To whom much is given, much is required now. So be aware of these professional responsibilities, for they shall most likely bleed into every other category that we're going to be talking about. And everything needs balance. So, cool. Moving on. Category 8. Money/ability to barter responsibilities. If you don't know what barter means, go look it up and come back. We'll wait for you. Did you do it? Good job. We're going to try an exercise for this category. Think of your current professional title. If you have a job, you have a title. If you're unemployed, maybe this ain't for you right now. Janitor, cashier, CEO, whatever. Think of whatever your title is and think of the title specifically. Now, think about all the professional responsibilities that come with that title. What time you got to get there? How many hours of work are mandatory? What's the work environment like? Got it? Good. Now let's say you just won the lottery, 100 million after taxes and everything. Are you still thinking about what you just thought about? Does the title matter anymore? Does it change? Why? I say all this because maybe you need to figure out the money category before the professional category. Because breaking news, if you didn't know, they are two different categories, two different responsibilities. I don't know. I'm just bringing to you what I know, something to think about. All right. This is going well. Category number 9, spirituality responsibilities. I have a question. What happens when you die? Now, I can't prove anything to you, nor would I care to. What I will say is that I'm at peace with my answer, and I hope you're at peace with yours too. And if not, and if you never really thought about it, and it's kind of scary because yes, ultimately you will die one day, but it's okay because you're here and you're alive right now. That's what matters. But still, what is your answer to life's last question? I don't know. Moving on. Category 10, love responsibilities. When it comes to love, there's two big areas we're going to focus on, okay? There's self-love, right? And then there's love of life, which includes your relationship with everything that life brings. Let me explain. We're going to break it down like this. So self-love is how I love myself and how I prove it, okay? And then there's your relationship with other human beings, which is its own section of love. There's your relationship with animals, another section of love. There's your relationship with the planet, a big or a small section of love. And anything you come into contact, really, the elements, your relationship with a stranger, how you handle love in that sense, whatever. The truth is you have a personal relationship with everything around you, whether you see it or not. Like, I bet you love your TV or your phone. And in a deeper way of thinking about it, you have the power to effectively make change, good or bad, either in yourself or wherever you see fit. I just pray that it's positive change, And finally, category 11, purpose responsibility. Why are you here? Why am I here? What's your purpose? What's my purpose? Do you know? Have you done it yet? I don't know. A lot like spirituality, you may have to wander in life a bit to find your answer in this category. Although I will say having your answer is better than dealing with the question, you know? And that's it. That's it, folks. How to be human. 11 categories or responsibilities to pay attention to by yours truly. Well, at least the short version, that is. I hope you enjoyed the video. Write down anything that sounds helpful and apply it, to your life. Put some goals down, and I'm proud of you. This is a real step. You're going to kill it. As for the rest of us, if you're not sold yet, that's because I'm not selling you anything. I'm trying to help. Still, if you're curious or interested for more, let's get into some depth. But first, a couple things. I want to talk about, let's go back to why, right? Why did I make this video? I made this video because I'm not blind. I see my brothers and sisters of the human race suffering every day, all ages, by the way. Outside, in their homes, I can feel the helplessness in the air, the void their coping mechanisms won't fill, the division caused by confusion, and so much more. Basically, people are dying every day in different ways, and I had to do something. I had to say something. Like, I'm here because you need to know that you're not alone in this fight. And this ain't it. This is not your end. You will not die here. Rather, this is where you find a foundation, a second chance, your wake-up call. Time for stability, direction, and opportunity. No more playing games. The truth is, you've lived through much greater odds than this. You've beaten bigger bosses than the one you're currently facing. And if you're new and you haven't yet, then welcome. Welcome to the team. The ones that don't quit. I'm excited for you, for your first victory. Let's get it together. The first thing you got to do is get yourself calm. Get your mind and body on the same page. And in this personal battle, you will win. Not to get all Tony Robbins about it, but it's up to you, And if nobody ever told you that they believe in you, then I will. I believe in you. You can do this. You got this. You are more than capable of achieving exactly what it is that you want. That's the truth. You are wise and resilient. You're gonna figure this out. Okay. Motivational speech over. Let's keep it rolling. Real quick, I'm gonna give y'all a diagnosis point. For example, medically, if you didn't feel good, right, you would go to a doctor, get diagnosed, and receive treatment for whatever's going on. Well, guess what? We're all human beings here. And if you find yourself with a displeasing feeling often, and you don't know where it's coming from, how to treat it, or even why you have it, welcome. Welcome to How to Be Human. Let's figure it out together, cut out the dead weight, bandage you up, and let you recover. That sounds good to me. And if it sounds good to you, then hop on board. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've all been waiting for, let's get into it. Starting with category 1, biological responsibilities. I'm so ready to talk about this. Okay, so if you were born 100 years ago or 50 years ago or even today, you'd be the same baby. Sperm connected to an egg and became an embryo. That hasn't changed. Most likely your mother gives birth to you. She gives birth to a male or a female because human beings have two sexes, which are determined by the X chromosome and the Y chromosome. This is public school education, by the way. I double checked with Google. If you were born with one X chromosome and one Y chromosome, you're classified as a male. If you're born with two X chromosomes, you're classified as a female. The way I've always looked at it, honestly, like men are geckos and women are chameleons, for a lot of different reasons. Both are reptiles, but their biologies are vastly different. Well, guess what? Males are men and females are women. Both are human beings, but their biologies are vastly different. You see where I'm going with this? Matter of fact, let me talk to the children real quick, because biological responsibilities tie into what we humans have this concept of what we call growing up. If you are a male or female, I'm personally giving you an excuse to be a kid, okay? Not a knucklehead, but a kid. With technology in 2024, everybody's under a microscope. There's a new dragon to slay every day. There's peer pressure. There's a lot of opinions. There's a lot going on. So I'm telling you, it's okay to put your phone down and go outside like your ancestors did. Go play tag again. Go on a hike. Go be a kid. Don't make permanent decisions without really thinking it through, and think it through with people who agree and disagree with your position. That's just solid advice. I say all this to you, whoever you are watching, because you have a biological responsibility to be safe and educated and prospering in a healthy way. I understand there are exceptions in certain situations, but that doesn't negate the rule. What's the rule? The rule is growing up sucks for everybody. Everybody. Don't be ashamed of what you are or how you were born. Be proud and have an open mind to develop naturally. The truth is, there's no one on earth that's you. You're one of one. Even if you're a twin, you were made an original. Don't die as somebody else's copy. And remember, there's pros and cons to being a dude or a chick of all ages. We all play our strengths and weaknesses, man. Like we're all humans. As a human being growing up, you're gonna go through cringe moments, heartbreak, awkward days, and humiliation at the worst of times, man. Trust me. But you will also go through things like kindness and forgiving moments and laughter and love and tests of strength. And what do you think growing up is? And we never stop growing up, by the way. Growing up in a sentence is figuring out what you like and what you don't and why. And that's it. Now, to some questions, there will be answers that only come through experience, and that's okay. Don't rush. Like me personally, I had to lose some things in my life to realize, damn, I hella loved that thing, or damn, I want another one, but there was only one, so damn. But hey, you might as well learn to dance in the rain, because if you don't, then you're just standing in it. So I say all this to say, if you've already made some permanent decisions that you already regret, guess what? You're still alive. You still have time to achieve peace with those decisions, and it's all right. So breathe. It's going to be okay. Last few points. Don't be ashamed if you love your family, and don't be ashamed if you don't. Be ashamed if you were tricked into a conclusion that you didn't create yourself. There you go. That's a good way to put it. So yeah. Okay, that was good. Moving on. Category number 2, physical responsibilities. Let me ask you a question. This is for everybody who doesn't have their dream body yet, me included. If there was a red button and you could push it and no one would know, and once this button was pushed, you'd have your dream body permanently, would you push it? Don't tell me. Let me ask you another question. Do you think you'd be more of an asset or a liability with your dream body? Think about it. Not even just to you, but to those around you. Now let's answer. I'll be honest. I'm pushing the button, bro. I'm pushing it twice. But guess what? We want the easy way out, and life doesn't work like that, especially if you want things to last. There's a concept called life expectancy. It's basically an educated guess of when you'll die, depending on a bunch of other factors that human beings use. And yes, breaking news, if you didn't know, the way you take care of your physicality, your exercise, how you deal with vices has an influence on how you physically have time here on earth. We get closer to death every day. Might as well feel healthy and capable while we're here. Why, you might ask? Well, when you feel healthy, you feel capable. When you feel capable, you feel confident. When you feel confident, you will beat anxiety's ass, dude. Like, you will curb stomp your depression. At least I've done it, it was very fulfilling. And I'm not saying that your anxiety or depression originated from your lack of physicality. Remember, I don't know you, but what I am saying is getting your physicality to increase instead of decline will have a positive effect on you. That I can guarantee. So yeah, go on a run, do some push-ups. It's not going to kill you. In fact, it will do the opposite. Okay, moving on. Category 3. Psychological responsibilities. Let's talk about how to maintain balance in our heads. There's 2 physical, practical practices that you can use that don't fry your brain. Number 1, a good diet and a good rest schedule. We've already covered that. And number 2, take a break from your digital screens. Go do some old school activities, board games, cards, something that doesn't involve electricity. It's good because this way you're going to get dopamine naturally by doing activities instead of the fake dopamine you get from scrolling all day. Okay, now let's talk about mental practices that you can use. First up is self-trust. Here's another important question. Is your brain on your team or is it against you? We've mentioned self-love briefly in the intro of this video, and it does have a minor role to play here, because the quote goes, strong body so you don't inspire attack from others, and a strong mind so you don't inspire attack from yourself. For example, I used to attack myself when I was younger, like all the time. I wanted to be better, stronger, more capable, and I used to say some real nasty, hateful things that I could hear in my head, and it wasn't healthy. And so I ask you, have you ever experienced that when you're talking to yourself? We got to adjust. Our brains are the only ones that we have, so we might as well be on the same page with our conscience and not at odds with it, because usually it only wants the best for us. And I know it's depicted as weird to talk to yourself, but truthfully, I not only talk to myself, but I be answering myself sometimes, and I don't know. At least I know that I'm on my own team. I know I have my own back. I'm not at odds with myself. I know this and I've proved it as time passed on. So essentially now I trust myself. In what ways do you trust yourself? Do you trust yourself at all? If you say you're going to get something done by a deadline, do you trust yourself to do it? Do you trust yourself not to nag yourself about it, not to procrastinate about it? Is it instinctual or is it a process with you on making decisions that you don't flip flop on? These are just things to think about. If you don't trust yourself, are you willing to try? I don't know, but it might be worth exploring. Another mental practice would be the perspective that you hold. So we've all heard people say the glass is half full, others will say it's half empty. They're both right. The difference is one person is cheerful about the abundance that they have, while the other person is bitter about the scarcity that they have. What's incredible is both people are looking at the same thing. Which one are you? Which one would you rather be? The truth is, both perspectives are useful, and the trick is to control and activate any perspective you choose at a moment's notice. This is important because going back to mentally beating yourself up, some people make their lives harder by paying too much attention to negativity and having a scarce perspective mindset, versus making your life easier by paying more attention to positivity and having an abundance perspective mindset and, being thankful and gracious for what you have. Because ultimately, the truth is it could always be worse. And if you choose to apply this, just watch how the difference of perspective affects your behavior and the behavior of those around you, because positive change is worth it for everybody. And the last mental practice is knowing when to use logic or emotion. Logic and emotion own real estate in the brain. They share 50% of the mental space, but they're not used equally. At times, emotion is in the driver's seat and it'll drive your thoughts and behavior to do things that logic would never do, and vice versa. You would think the question is what situations need emotion from me versus which ones need logic, but rather the deeper question is, do you know how to use these mental tools? Do you honestly know how to use emotion and logic, or does it use you? Do you know how to use anger appropriately? Do you know how to defend against undesired lust? Where are you with forgiveness? What about critical thinking, effective communication, or problem solving? Some of us react with emotion and disregard logic naturally. Some of us react with logic and disregard emotion naturally. The truth is we have both at our disposal. We have the capacity to be sour or sweet. We can be positive or negative. We can react naturally, or we can step back, assess the situation, and engage appropriately. In a sentence, how do you cope when things get bad? Is that healthy for you? Only you'll know. All right, keep it pushing. Category number 4, input-output responsibilities. Very important. Mind your soul, mind your body, mind your mind. Why? Because you are influenceable and programmable, consciously and subconsciously. You are both the shepherd and the sheep. Try not to turn into a wolf. Starting with the senses, who or what are you watching on a daily basis, in person or over a screen? Is it helping? Is it improving your life? What have you been eating and tasting? Is that helping? Is it keeping you healthy? I hope. What was the last smell that made you excited or thankful to be alive? What was the last time you touched something new, something you've never touched before? And finally, what the hell are y'all listening to? Or who, I should say. What does that type of frequency and lyricism motivate you to do? And if you don't think it matters, then think of this. Next time you go to a nightclub, listen to nothing but gospel music on the way there and see how you feel. Or better yet, next time you're at the gym, listen to nothing but opera music in your ear and see if you add any of it to the playlist. And if you do, let me know. Getting back to it, we are human beings on a planet exposed to weather, animals, other human beings, and that's just the physical world. The best thing about human beings is the worst thing about human beings. It's our adaptability. This means our lives can be curated by us purposefully and specifically, or curated by others around us accidentally. Matter of fact, where did you get your vices from, or whom? Because I got news for you. You didn't give them to yourself. Somewhere around the way of adolescence, you thought, I'll try that because ... And it stuck. Or worse, it's new and it's here to stay. I hope not. I got faith in you. If you don't believe me, look at your life in every category I've mentioned. How different would it be if you grew up in a different place? Were exposed to a completely different way of living, shown a different mindset. You learned a different language first. I kind of need you to think philosophically, because only then will you see how much of your own life you can control and what you can't control. What are you learning? Forget that. What are you teaching? What are you encouraging? Somebody's, because somebody's watching you. I don't know. I just hope it's something good. Okay, moving on. Category number 5, social responsibilities. You don't have to be a social butterfly to have good social skills. We all know there is a time and a place to be social, just as there is a time and a place to be antisocial. But if you're smart, I got all these pillows. But if you're smart, you know when to be which. You need a balance of both. And if you're responsible, you're constantly learning and improving your social skills so you can become more capable. Why? Social skills can save your life and the lives of others, or at the very least, make it more enjoyable. Skills like communication, both verbal and nonverbal, giving and receiving criticism or feedback, understanding social cues. This would be what we call, reading the room or checking the vibe. Teamwork, leadership. It's a lot of territory, but the good news is everything is people. The world is literally made up of people, and to a degree, people are in charge. You think you'd want to know how to deal with people and everything about people, including the pros and cons of how you act when you're around people. And we've seen or heard social skills being used a million times before. The lazy coworker who isn't qualified for the job but is a sweet talker and fun to be around so they never get fired. Or the person in sales who ends up selling more than anyone because they understand personality profiles and know how to decipher tone, words, style of communication per client. There you go. That's some knowledge that you can use to help you out in the money category. You're welcome. Basically, what I'm trying to say is the most powerful companies or controllers of nations are just people in a room. The leaders of Universal Studios or Disney are just people in a room. The leaders of the United States and the United Kingdom are just people in a room. Now imagine if you made a social connection with one of them. One of the members thought you were funny or interesting and liked having you around. We call that making a connection. We call that networking, making friends. All done with social skills. But let's back it up here for a little bit. So human beings have always been tribal by nature, which is why we like picking teams. Something in us likes to team up with others. We find similarities with one another and band together for our survival or convenience. Or at least we used to. Whether it's for the greater good or to divide and destroy, the point is that it's up to us. And the other point is whether you were born 100 years ago or 100 years from now, you'll still be a human being and you'll still have the need for community or a tribe. If you don't know the difference between tribe, friends, or communities, I'll explain. A tribe is a family. However that word registers in your mind, that's your tribe. Think of it like this. If it was the end of the world and there were like 5 minutes left, let's say all you can do is hug the ones around you. Who are those people that come to your head? That's your tribe. Imagine there were no problems and everyone accepted we're all going to die and we're all going to hug it out. The people you'd want to hug in those moments, that's tribe. Now, tribe can include your friends, your spouse, biological family, neighbors, your teammates, whatever. And depending on how many people you know and how many purposes you may have, like a bunch of different tribes for a bunch of different things, usually for activities, but you get the point, so we'll move on. Friends are people who genuinely care if you're up or down. They're the ones who would be willing to sacrifice their comfort to help you out for whatever instance. Rule number 1, a friend always shows up. Or they messed up, they learned their lesson, they really make up for it, and then they show up moving forward. We're all human beings. We all deserve a little grace, especially when we're dealing with one another. I'm not saying tolerate disrespect, but I am saying have a little grace. If they're genuinely good to you and, sometimes people mess up. Act like you haven't. And finally, community. Community is the neighborhood, the local Chinese food spot, the closest college, downtown wherever you stay, your local mall. Community is the people you see at the coffee shop. Community is the people driving alongside you on the freeway, the ones at the bus stop, the people sitting next to you at the movie theater. You don't need personal ties to have community, but you can definitely invest in some, and I would recommend it. Help out the community by hosting block parties, get to know your neighbors. You might as well, you live next to them. Start the local business you've always wanted to, or support a new one you like, things like that. Anyways, the quicker we realize that we have more in common with one another than differences, the more teamwork and beneficial we are to one another. Don't believe me? Okay. If aliens came down and said death to all humans, very quickly would we join together and be like, death to who? And handle the situation together. Very quickly, we can work together when needed. I just wish we did it more for positivity and the greater good of the children. Maybe we still can. All right, next. Category 6, artistic responsibilities. Oh, my creative people, I do this for you. Let me talk to the creatives real quick. Let me talk to the artists. And you got to stretch your brain when I say creative, because I'm talking to anybody who considers themselves at all artistic. My fellow artists, hear me. When you're trying to make something new, And at times you don't believe in yourself, but you believe in it. You believe in what you're doing. And you go through the process and you try to stay positive, but the obstacles keep coming. And you stop for a moment and you breathe and you put the project down and you go and take a break and you visit all the projects of all the people who've ever inspired you, writers, musicians, performers, whatever. And you think, man, if they can go through all that they went through and produce this amazing art that I get to consume anytime I want, maybe I can do the same. And maybe I can help an artist just as they've all helped me by committing to their path. And then you complete the project and you contribute to the world and you win. Well, I'm there. I'm now sharing all of this with you. And by the way, if you feel like you have nothing to contribute, you're wrong. And here's why. Every human has an artistic nature in them. It just needs to be discovered and cared for. Think of it like growing a plant. The seed is the idea planted in your brain. Your brain is the soil. The water is your time, energy, and attention. Some people work on cars. Some people like to decorate. Others color and do art. Some people collect collectibles, like whatever it is. You could technically classify it as a hobby, depending on how often you do it, but ultimately it's what you do for you, artistically. What do you do for you? This is important because we're at the point in the human being timeline where if you have a smartphone or connection to the internet, the chances that you're doing way more consumption of whatever content you're watching versus actual contribution or development of your own talent is scary high. That's why most of us get disgruntled and upset because we're on apps where things are meant to look perfect and then we look around and then we get pissed. Some of us can keep our chill and realize it's all for fake likes and digital hugs and we don't care, right? We'll delete the apps. It's not that serious. But to our brothers and sisters, it is that serious. It's very serious. Remember, we've been called the saddest generation with the happiest pictures. And I personally think that's whack, dude. Like, I'd rather y'all be happy and secure in where y'all are at than, faking it online. Because when you fake it, eventually it leads to crying or tripping out about what you don't actually have. Or worse, I've seen this. You make a permanent decision trying to get fast results that won't last. So why don't you try gardening before you try online comparison? You know what I mean? Or take up a martial art or a book club, or I don't know, because in the end, the best answers are usually the simple ones. And I say this again, vices are not hobbies. Drinking, smoking, having sex are not sustainable activities, just to name a few. But for example, let's say you're smoking weed with your homie and one of y'all starts beatboxing and it's pretty good. The artistic responsibility would be to develop the beatboxing talent and not to allow the vice of smoking to prohibit your artistic journey in any way. Who knows where that talent could lead you? You'll never know until you develop it. So good luck. Moving on. Category 7, professional responsibilities. Look, we all work in one way or another, usually for money or resources, but I don't even want to talk about traditional returns. I want to discuss everything that is expected when holding a professional position for a human being, and everything we don't see coming when we commit to a role, either in our own or another person's dream. Okay, so first things first, why do you work if not for money? What else do you receive from being a professional in your field? Respect, power, cool coworkers, satisfaction. Maybe you're just fitting in. I'm going to explain a theory I have called the 33% rule, or a third, a third, a third. While I explain, try to keep up and think about what percentage you're in and what responsibilities it brings. I don't know if this theory's ever been proven, but it makes sense to me. So here it is. If you take 100% of people in the world existing alive right now, and you take away 1%, we'll talk about them later. You have 99% of people in regular human society. Now let's put them into 3 groups. Boom, boom. A third, a third, a third. 33%, 33%, 33%. Okay? Okay. The professional bottom 33% are the clock in, clock out people we talked about earlier. They only need enough income to sustain or survive their lifestyle, bills, and vices. Maybe a vacation or 2 in there if they want. Otherwise, they could really care less about the title they hold. And if they came into a whole sum of money, they're out. That's the bottom. The professional middle 33% want to contribute to a professional project, but maybe not want to lead the project. So for example, they have a role in a corporate company, or they do background vocals or choreography for an artist, or they do, cinematography for major films. Something where it's always a team environment and a team goal. These are team people. That's the middle. Now you have the professional top 33%. These are the CEOs, the founders, the partners, the ones that run the show, and in the end usually take all the risk, okay? Bottom, middle, top. That makes 99%, right? Lastly, you have that top 1%, and this is old money and new money. This would be like the Elon Musk and like the Rockefeller families of the world. Okay, that's over there. I say all this to help you determine where you're currently at: bottom 33, middle 33, or top 33. Have you ever thought about entering a different percentage? Because the truth is, you can. You don't have to stay in your current percentage. You just have to know what it would require to move, right? Stress wise, organization wise, boundary wise. You'll have to learn something new, maybe even become something new. I just want you guys to be aware of this, of what, you sign up for, while also understanding where you're most efficient at. Plus, I think it's good to, talk about these things when you put money to the side. Another important question: does your legacy need a certain professional title attached to it, or is it just about generational wealth and we don't care where the money comes from? I'll ask, what's more important, professional responsibility or financial responsibility to you? Do you care about a material legacy? Because I mean, you could be great at your job, your marriage, parenting, great at family and friendship, and when your time comes to leave the earth, your loved ones will remember you. That's a legacy. The point is that professional responsibilities weigh on all of us, no matter where you land on the 33% scale, and in different ways. Some of us got to worry about catching the bus, others have to make the presentation go perfect, and few have to worry about the board of directors. So I'm sure the 1%, I imagine their problems are different, but I could be wrong. Like, everyone has kids or humans they love, so I get it. But for the 99%, things like commuting, budgeting, working with a team, leading a team, dealing with HR, trying to fit in your life on the weekends, requesting time off, like, it's a lot. So a lot of things could slip through the cracks and be, unaccounted for. And so I just want to make sure that y'all pay attention to the important stuff, because I don't want professional responsibilities to take that over. Okay, good. Next, category 8, money/ability to barter responsibilities. This will be quick because I ain't rich yet. The question is, what is money? Usually money translates as access to resources. Enough money, enough resources, and usually less stress. After that, money then turns into options. Quickly, it changes from, I bought my first yacht, to, which yacht are we taking out this weekend? I'm also not a financial advisor, but I have a feeling they'll agree with me on this. It's not only about how much income you have, but how you steward that income, multiply it, and preserve it. And if by any chance money means nothing to you by the time you're watching this, because I don't know what year you're in when you're watching this, but learning how to barter is equally as important. Funny enough, social skills do play a role here, but let's just put that aside. Things like knowing the value of your items, who to trade with, how important services are, would do you some good. In the end, people make things happen, and for many of you, no one's coming to save you, so make your money legally and honorably, and good luck. Okay. We're wrapping up. Category 9, spirituality responsibilities. You know what's funny? When I started writing How to Be Human, I would run all 11 categories by people I trusted. And every time I did, I would ask what they thought the most important category was and which they thought was least important. Half said spirituality was the most important category out of all 11. The other half said it was the least important category out of all 11. Very interesting answer, and I just thought you should know. So anyways, I'm Christian. I'm proud to say Jesus Christ is my Lord and personal Savior. I ain't here to convert anybody. I ain't here to argue with y'all. I ain't here for none of that. This is your life. Study, believe, whatever you want. I just hope it doesn't harm you or others, and I hope it leads you down the path of peace, forgiveness, and enlightenment, because that's what I've gained in my faith. Not to mention perspective. Personally, I think checking out what the spiritual category means to you sometime in this life would be a good idea. And, by the way, if you have no idea where to start and you've never heard God used in a serious conversation before, don't trip. It's never too early or too late to do some soul seeking. I'm honestly planning on doing some videos anyways, kind of explaining this category in a great depth by my specific view. So stick around, keep an eye out. As for now, I'm good with that. Just as this last thing. No matter what you believe, worship, or acknowledge, I'm telling you, there's evil in this world. There's righteousness in this world. I personally believe both teams have a coach. You can switch teams at any time, but best believe you're on a team. So, anyways, choose peace over pleasure, and God bless. Last two. Okay, category 10, love responsibilities. Okay, there's self-love or outer love. We'll start with self-love. How a human being loves itself. Let me ask you an important question before we even get there, because most people have trouble loving themselves. They feel unworthy. Could someone like you be loved? And I'm being serious. Are you capable of accepting love? Do you deserve it? What does love look like to you? What does love mean when it's just you and yourself? All good questions to write down, think about, and answer just for you, no one else. When it comes to self love, most of us stop at self care, which is different. Self care might be hygiene or vacations or, excuse me, meal prepping. Self love is how you respect your own boundaries, time, resources, emotions, and ways of thinking. When you have an abundance of self love, there's very little another human being can do to manipulate, peer pressure, or trick you into something you may not want to do. People with a lot of self love will say things like, nah, it's not worth my time or stress. While the opposite usually do people pleasing to be liked. So, no matter where you're at on your self love journey, understand that you matter to yourself. And at the end of the day, it's just going to be you and your thoughts. So, I hope that company is good company for you. Now we can move on to outer love. So, for all the humans that have been heartbroken by another human, industry, animal, or element, hello, welcome. I'm sorry. We've all been hurt here before, and it's time to admit where we're at for most of us. We're a bit broken, not quite functioning at 100% capacity. Here's a hard question I want you to ask yourself. Get ready. Here's the question. Do I really have to heal again? Some will say yes, and some will lie and say no. And trust me, I know if anybody knows that I know you don't want to. I know you feel like you can't go through a process of healing again because it doesn't seem real or worth it. Or, you think you're going to go through pain and heartbreak again, so why even bother, right? And the truth is, you're right. In all statistical probability, you will probably go through a version of that hardship again. And I understand that you may not want to get up and fight the good fight, and it's easier to just let love die where you left it. But the bigger truth is that life doesn't get easier. You just get stronger. Look, you tried the whole sad, broken human thing, and to be honest, it doesn't look good on you. It's too tight. It's like I can see the grip around your neck. Like, let's just ease it up a bit, breathe, you know? Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, make adjustments, and get back out there. For real this time. Properly this time. Don't get it twisted. I know it's a big world, but you're a big person and you can handle it. And remember this pro tip. Some of us date out of loneliness because we can't physically be alone. And I say surely unto you that if you can't find company alone, you'll always feel lonely. So do the work. It's good for you. And it's okay if it takes time. It's worth it. Last. Category 11. Purpose responsibility. I just quickly want to say thank you for sticking around. Thank you. Thanks for coming to kick it. I'm going to bring this journey home, but thank you for hanging out. Okay, purpose. What is purpose? The definition of purpose is the reason for which something is done or created, or for which something exists. So basically, like I said earlier, purpose is why. You need to go find your why. Why are you here? Why does it matter? I found mine. My life's purpose is to help people. Very plain and simple. Help any way I can, which is why I've been talking for almost an hour. Hopefully this helps one person. That's all I need, is just to help one. I figured out my purpose when I realized what genuinely made me happy. Something I'd do for free, I'd help. If you want to find your purpose, I would start with service. Go put some miles on your soul and be in service to your fellow human beings without expecting anything in return. Not for forever, but you understand, until you feel a sense of fulfillment. I know we all go on vacations to be catered to and to feel at peace, to feel powerful, to post about it. But when was the last time you paid to help? And I'm not talking about sending money to charity. Like, you have a lot more to offer than that. When was the last time you took a trip away to a place that needed you and your assistance? Your time, your energy, your personality, your talents. Places and people need you, near and far. I don't know, but might be what you're missing. Might be the only thing that fills the void. Again, I don't know. I'm not you, but I trust you to figure it out. And when you do, whether you start your How to Be Human journey, you're continuing your How to Be Human journey, or you're finishing your How to Be Human journey, comment below, let me know. Make a video response, at me on Twitter. Let me know, how you're doing as a human being these days. It's a privilege, So I pray it all goes well. I do. That's it. But that's all I got for you. That's it, or at least for this video. I hope you all enjoyed How to Be Human. I know I did. And please, 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 if you get any value from this video, please, please share it. Send it to your friends, send it to your family, send it to your enemies. brag about how smart and on point you are now, celebrate how you're not overwhelmed anymore because you have organization and structure. Um, this is something you can always refer back to. And look, now you have things to look forward to and not just run away from. And thanks for letting me be a part of it. As always, I'm Alexander. It's been my privilege to serve you. Until next time, uh, God bless, guys. Long live the kids.